Right now in Minnesota, we're having a long conversation about a proposal that's put on our ballot in the fall, and it's a marriage amendment. And who defines who gets to be married, what our Constitution says. And that's what we'll all be voting on in November. So I've been talking to a lot of different clergy people about this, and a lot of lay people, a lot of faith communities, both within the Episcopal tradition and lots of different other places. And it strikes me more and more that as our politics have gotten so divisive over the last couple of years, last 15, 20 years, it's just so ugly. You're right, I'm right, you're wrong, and let's just really make it that miserable for all of us to actually engage in conversation, that we in faith communities, and in my tribe, the Christian faith, the Episcopal faith, we have a real opportunity to have a real conversation with one another. And that doesn't mean agreeing. And it doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it so we can all pretend we agree. It's about a real sense of me stating what I need to say to stay true to who I am, and me being heard and me listening to you. For example, I think it's pretty obvious that I have a stake in the marriage amendment conversation. My beloved and I had a commitment ceremony 10 years ago at St. John's Episcopal Church, where our friends and family stood up and witnessed our promises to one another. Our promises to one another that we put God right in the middle of it. So I know that come fall, I'm going to vote no in November, and that's all right. I've had conversations with people who come up to me and say, I hear you. I hear what you're saying to me. But because of everything I know, everything that I've learned, marriage to me can only be defined between one man and one woman. And I love you, but I'm going to vote yes. And what do we do with that? In the real world, in the political world, out beyond our communities, we fight with one another. We're the pictures of the two people standing at the protest line, screaming at each other's faces, not hearing anything. But in our context, in our faith context, we have an ancient notion of sanctuary. And sanctuary is this idea that we sort of tossed aside because nobody's hiding from the king anymore. They're not like knocking on the church door begging for somewhere to hide. So we don't do sanctuary anymore. Not in our context. But sanctuary is a very real principle. And we, in our context, could say, wait a second, we offer sanctuary to one another. I hear you. I hear what you're telling me about marriage. I hear what you're telling me about who you want to be president of the United States. I hear you, what you're telling me about abortion, about rights of women, about all these different things that we argue about. And I disagree with you. I'm going to have to go another way with this. But yet I'm still in relationship with you. And sanctuary is this powerful notion of being able to say, we agree to disagree, but we've had the conversation. It's not sanctuary in the sense of, oh, we're never going to talk about it, and we're all going to pretend we agree with one another. I mean, this time in our lives, this faith community, this church has an opportunity to honestly say to one another, this is where I stand, and I honor where you stand, and where can we agree, and where can we move forward? And what would it be like for all of us if we could live in a place of sanctuary where we really talk about issues and really disagree and still understand that we're brothers and sisters and we're still walking this pace together?